through, the recruiting process, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, and you're kind of with them the whole step of the way, academics, and really become such a mentor to them. It's a lot of fun. It's very fulfilling. My family loves it. I mean, they're around. They'll be out of practice. My daughters like to make cookies for players and things like that. I mean, it just becomes a real family environment.
How important is it for you as a coach to have spring, where you come in, you're learning a new team, and then maybe compare it with like the OTAs you would have had in the pros, and how much more you can kind of feel a part of it than that?
I think the big difference from that standpoint in the spring here is the spring in the NFL and the OTAs is such a limited what you can do with the players. I mean, you're limited amount of times that you can be within the meeting room, the limited amount of times you can be on the field with them. Drill work is limited, so you just don't get quite the same experience in terms of coaching them. Just all the little details and being able to get with these guys, watch a bunch of film, go out on the field, even in the spring stuff when you can't use footballs, you're still coaching, going through the drills, and able to work with them and get to know them a little bit there and just have a more hands-on approach with them. And so I think just the ability to have that much time and experience with these guys on a daily basis is unique and fun.
So I saw your wife's tweet, the picture of the moving truck. Was that your spring break? Getting everything moving?
That was it. So I didn't get to relax a whole lot, but the great thing is it was a great week to be able to go home, kind of, tie up all my loose ends in Indianapolis, and then get the wife and kids out here, and it was phenomenal. I mean, we just drove across the country, took a few days, and nothing like 3 days in the car with the wife and kids. So, but they're great and loved it. And the funny thing is, those are the memories you'll remember. You won't remember taking a flight, from Indianapolis to Boise if you're moving. I mean, let alone you're going to think back, my kids. And they'll remember the car ride and the trip and spending all that time together and playing, license plate bingo and, playing cards on the dash and all that fun stuff. So it was good. It was a good spring break.
Besides the skill set of the NFL, how much different is it from coaching in the NFL to where it is in college?
You know what, you're coaching football, and I'll be honest, it's not that much different. I mean, and really too, I mean, like I said, the time, especially in the OTAs, is the one main difference. But the players in the NFL too, they want to get better and they want to be coached. And I think, so from that standpoint, obviously, the talent level, because you're dealing with the top 10% and top 10%, or top 10%, top 1%, whatever. But the guys are hungry, and they're hungry here, and they want to be coached, and they want to be better. And you text them, hey, make sure you guys are kind of watching tomorrow's install. Take a look at it. It's been posted online for you guys, and they're in it. And they come the next day with questions. And so it's just. It's just a great experience, and it's so much fun to be around and be a part of.
What have you seen out of the secondary guys you're working with? Your first impressions on, you've got quite a few guys back in the secondary that have had some experience.
Yeah, no, we got a bunch of guys, and I think that, well, like I said, you got the top couple guys that have played a lot of football, and then you got everybody else who hasn't played a lot of football. Jalen started against Oregon because of the injury with Tyler. But other than that, I mean, really, you got Tyler and Avery at corner, and that's who you return. And those guys they're awesome with coaching and teaching the younger guys too. I mean, they do a great job giving them pointers and coaching them up. Those guys come off the field and they're talking to them, and so that's a lot of fun. But then all those young guys, they're hungry and they're trying to get better and they want to be coached, and they're asking questions and they're involved and they're engaged. And so it's a lot of fun. But there is definitely a difference between the guys that play a lot of ball. And the guys that are just still trying to learn it all, and really even Tyler and Avery though. I mean, they ask questions, they come in, they watch the film, they shoot me texts at night, and so they're all hungry, and and they're such good role models as those younger guys. It's awesome.
I'd feel really bad if I didn't ask about your reality TV experience.
You feel bad, huh?
Yeah. I'd regret if I didn't ask it. But just what was that like? And how'd you get interested in that? And how'd that kind of come about?
Yeah, no, I kind of fell into that in a sense, I guess. The long and short of it is, they initially asked my brother about it, and he directed them to me, and so that's kind of how I got into it. And then it just kind of, he got me in touch with some of the producers, and they just went through their process. And, I kind of was at a point in my life where I was still playing a little ball, but I had a lot of time to kill. So it was kind of like, hey, why not? And it was back before reality shows got real popular. So it really was a fun experience because, like I said, I mean, reality shows weren't popular at that time. They were just starting to come out. So it was really like a whole group of guys that we just hung out. You felt like you're back in college again. And we hung out and played basketball and, played, had pool table and swam and, did all kinds of stuff and just kind of hung out. So It was a fun experience.
So it wasn't the most traditional path to becoming a coach. Was coaching always something you wanted to do? Was that something that was in your mind then? You know, I mean, I guess a lot of guys maybe as soon as they're done playing, go right into it. But you know,
it was definitely something that always intrigued me. I finished playing. Well, I tried to go. I mean, I finished my NCAA eligibility. I had one class left to graduate. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers cut me. So Butch Davis was the head coach of the University of Miami at the time, and he honored my scholarship, let me come back and paid for me to finish school. So during that year, I got to be a student coach, and Coach Pagano was my position coach in college, and also he was, so I got to work with him from a coaching standpoint as well at that time. And so that's kind of gave me the first glimpse of coaching. From there, I still kind of tried to play and did the reality show and did a little this, did a little that, and hung out for a little bit, and then decided at some point I needed to get a real job once football stopped, essentially stopped letting me play. And I got a real job for a couple years, working for a computer consulting company. But it really wasn't. I liked the job, but it wasn't what I felt like I wanted to do for the rest of my life. So I kind of called up at that time. Now Coach Coker was the head coach at the University of Miami. So I called him up and just kind of told him I'd be interested in GA, and if something came available, and that's kind of how I got into it.
Curious, what kind of coaches and who are some of the coaches that have had a big influence on your coaching career?
Geez, I think as you go through the process, you take a little bit from everybody. It's kind of a bad answer in a sense, but Coach Pagano obviously has been just a huge influence in my life and the type of coach that I want to be and the type of person that I want to be. Larry Coker's been phenomenal in terms of just giving me opportunities and coaching me and grooming me and helping me become a good coach. He's hired me twice, hired me as a GA, then hired me at University of Texas San Antonio there as well. And then Jeff Collins at Temple University was a DC for me. He was phenomenal in terms of just my growth as a coach. I learned so much from him on the game, and then Todd Orlando, the DC at Texas, him as well. I mean, just two different individuals, but two guys that I've just taken so much from those guys. It really has been fun, and those guys are awesome. I text them, now and then, and we reach out and talk to them and talk ball and ask questions, and they've been great mentors to me. And then more recently, Greg Williams, who's now with the Denver Broncos. He was the defensive backs coach in Indianapolis, and he's been absolutely phenomenal. Chuck initially hired me, Coach Pagano initially hired me, as his assistant. I was assistant to head coach, and then I worked with the secondary as well.